I'm not saying what she was saying verbatim, but this is kind of along the lines of what she was saying. Basically, reading off the thank you for expressing your interest email out loud to us verbatim. I was like, oh, we didn't get the job? Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Not Quite There podcast, where we navigate this chaos we call life through candid and vulnerable conversation. Welcome back. I know you guys missed me last week. I missed me last week. We couldn't make it happen, but it's okay because we're here today. So, this episode, the way December is going to be structured is going to be very different from the rest of the episodes and the rest of the months since we've started the podcast. December is going to start off with a story time because I didn't end November with a story time. And instead of ending December with another story time, we're going to end December with the end of year recap. It's going to be a really fun episode. You guys are going to love it. But this is a story time. This is the first episode of December. And this is the story about how I interviewed with American Airlines and didn't get the job. I want to share with you guys what my experience was like interviewing with them and the timeline and the processes and being in person. They flew me out to Texas, like being in Texas on their training campus, the whole nine. I'm going to give you guys everything. Okay. So stay tuned. You're welcome for a story time first. I hope this kicks off December really well for you. And just buckle up and kind of listen closely because there are a lot of dates and numbers. There's an overlapping timeline, and then we'll get into the actual interview. I'll try to be quick about the timeline because, yeah, I can be long winded. Boom. Welcome, welcome. So here we go. I interviewed with American Airlines. Okay. I put in my initial application January 29th of 2025, January of this year. I got information or confirmation rather February 20th. So from January 29th to February 20th. I got confirmation on February 20th about a virtual group interview. Okay, cool. The virtual group interview took place on either between the 24th and the 26th. I can't really remember the date.
So I'm preparing for an interview. I'm not going to tell y'all where. You'll know in due time. But wish me luck.
But it was one of those days, either the 24th, the 25th, or the 26th. After the virtual group interview, I was informed, well, we were all informed on the group interview that it would take about 10 to 14 business days to hear any sort of follow up about this interview or from the interview. So I'm like, okay, a solid, what, like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, something like that, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So I was like, okay, cool. Um, I didn't get any updates. That was February 20th. I didn't get any updates about that interview until March 31st. Okay, so we have initial application January 29th, virtual group interview confirmation February 20th, confirmation or follow up from the group interview March 31st. Now on March 31st, I got an email, and I'm gonna put pictures of all the emails, all the communication that I've received from American Airlines. I'll put that all on screen for you guys so y'all can see and follow along with me, the date and what they were telling me, things like that. Okay. March 31st, I was told I passed the virtual group interview. Amazing. I'm like, what? I passed? What does that mean? Because I know that the third step was in person. So I was like, shoot, are they gonna fly me out? Fly me out. Fly me out, right? So I was told I passed the group interview, but it's busy season. So they were taking a pause on accepting applications and moving forward with anybody that was in the virtual group interview. They were going to pause, go through the busy season. Once applications reopen after the summer has passed, I'll be fast tracked to schedule an in-person interview. I was like, okay, cool. Well, I didn't know how long exactly that was going to be, because they didn't communicate like, oh, you should expect to hear from us in about 3 or 4 months time, 4 to 5 months time. Obviously you don't set that kind of like a promise time because you don't know if you can deliver on that promise, right? So I understand why they didn't set a specific timeline or anything like that for when I should hear back, but my goodness. After the March 31st email I received, and they said that they're taking a pause, I got two follow-up emails. They weren't really follow-up emails, they were kind of just like checking the temperature emails to see if like I'm still interested. June 10th, July 7th. So, really quick recap. January 29th, initial application. February 20th, confirmation of a group interview. March 31st, confirmation that I passed the interview but must wait for the busy season to pass. June 10th, July 7th. I got two emails. Both of the emails were kind of the same. It was on some like, hope you're still interested. We thank you for your patience. Your wings await you, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff to, make you feel like, oh, wow, are they reaching out now? Are they ready for me? Are they ready for me? So it was kind of just like keeping the tie, right? Cool. August 29th. August 29th, I received a different follow-up email. This one stated, if you're still interested, we thank you for your patience. We understand whatever, whatever, whatever. If you're still interested, click this link to reapply before September 7th so we can fast track you to get you set up for an in-person interview. I was like, oh shoot. Okay. Now, mind you, this is from January to August. That is a whole 7 months. Okay. In that 7 month time, in January, I had got fired from there's a bunch of overlapping timelines. This is why I say just keep your ears open, okay? January, I had just got fired from my job, my corporate 9 to 5 bank job. Got fired the 25th, I think. 4 days later, I put in my application for this flight attendant job. February, March, no job, no unemployment. April rolled around. I was referred. I have a cousin that works for a company. She referred me to be a driver for this company. I worked there April, May, got fired in June. Hey, it was like a I'm not gonna get into it. Got fired in June. This is a judgment free zone. If you're judging me, you can click off of the video. I'm so serious. If you're judging me, click off. Anyway, got fired in June, July, August, September, no job. Unemployment, October. Okay, so let's get back into the timeline, right? So August 29th, I got that email basically saying if you're still interested, click this link and reapply by September 7th. Once we receive your confirmation that you're still, or the reapplication, once we receive it, you'll receive an invite for an in-person interview. Um, Also in this follow-up email, the same email they sent me on August 29th was like a general interview and training dates expectations set. So they were like, oh, expect your interview to be sometime beginning or mid-October. If we decide to move forward with you from that in-person interview, expect training to start early to mid-February. That was kind of like the broad expectations that they set. Now, again, from January to August is how long this has taken so far. I'm saying to myself, like, all of that just to hear back from them, I don't know if this is something that I want to still jump into and like take full advantage of. Like, yes, I would love to get paid to travel. It is a prayer, like a dream of mine to get paid to travel. And I will get there. I think and I know for sure that this podcast is going to allow me that luxury to get paid to travel and speak to people while I'm traveling. However, um, I said to myself, like, I don't know, like this level of communication is booty to me. Like, why do I have to wait so long to hear back from you guys? Why did I have to wait for the busy season to pass? I could have gotten, or I could have did the interview and, if the interview was done before busy season, during busy season, I should have been training. Coming out of summer, getting into flying. That's how I expected it to be. So I was hesitant to reapply. But then finally on September 3rd, I did reapply, put in my application again, and I just was playing the waiting game again. So all this time, just playing the waiting game, waiting, 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 waiting. September 22nd, I received a follow up from my reapplication. And in this email, this follow up email, they basically let me, it's going to be on screen for you guys. They congratulated me. We invite you to the next step in your journey and on campus experience at our corporate campus in DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. So, what they wanted me to do was fill out this interview schedule confirmation form within 2 days. Not confirming may result in disqualification. On this interview schedule confirmation form was questions about which airport did I prefer to fly out of, a first choice and a second choice. What day that I want to fly into, or what day that I want to fly in, based on what interview dates that they had. They gave us the option to fly in the day of the interview or the day before the interview. I know me very, very well. I flew in the day before. Avoid all types of, at least I tried to avoid all types of lateness and rushing and, all that BS. Um, yeah, so I flew in the day before. Then they asked like, oh, what day would you prefer to be your interview? What time? One choice and an alternate choice. Then they gave me information, or they told me to put in my passport information. Now, with the passport information, they basically were saying like, if your passport is not valid through December 2026, you'll automatically be disqualified from the process, from interviewing and all that stuff. My passport expires in March. So I thought that I was going to automatic. I'm like, why am I even filling this out? Like, I waited all this time from January to now, we're in September, for you to tell me that if my passport is not valid all the way through December, that I'll be disqualified automatically. Like, no chances to renew it while I'm in training, or chances to renew while I'm, after the interview. If you tell me you want to move forward, I can now at that point go to renew my passport and expedite it if I need to. Like, just no chances, just disqualification. So I was like, I'm not gonna continue to put in this application then. Like, there's no need for me to do this, because I'm not gonna spend all this time, get all the way to Dallas, and then tell me like, oh, your passport expires in March. You can't do this interview. Go home. I'm like, nah, that's not happening. So I wasn't gonna fill it out. But I said a quick prayer, spoke to God about it. I was like, you know what? If this like is meant for me to do, I should have stopped at that moment. I should have stopped there. But I was like, if this is meant for me to do, then the passport thing is not gonna stop me from putting in the application or whatever. So put in my passport information. They also said if you have any questions, like, feel free to email us at this email, and we'll answer any of the questions that you have. So I did do a follow-up email about my passport directly after, and they didn't respond. So I was just like, okay, well then we'll see what happens when I get to Dallas then, because whatever. So Um, the interview day, like the duration of the interview, was 3 to 5 hours. That's the interview time that they set, time range, 3 to 5 hours. They had a check-in process. The check-in was open from an hour and 15 minutes before my scheduled interview time. It closed 15 minutes prior to my interview start time. And it said late arrivals will not be admitted nor rescheduled. These are all the expectations that I'm reading in this email before even going there. Again, what to bring valid passport must be valid through December 31st, 2026. Two forms of government issued ID. Passport cards not accepted. Foreign passport holders must bring work authorization, work visa, whatever. Then they start talking about the dress code. I had to take my nose piercing out. Any facial piercings must be removed. Any tattoos that's visible must be covered up. So I had to cover this tattoo, this tattoo, this tattoo. This one I think I covered by my hair. Like I was just like on that kind of a vibe. But I had to cover everything. I had to cover everything and I had to take this out. And it was just like it was a lot going into the interview. So again, the passport thing, I was like, well, you know, my passport has to be valid through December 2026. Let me just put this in and see what happens. I emailed them right after just to see like what they would tell me. They didn't respond. So I was like, okay, well, they they um they received my choices for what I, would like to do, how I want to fly, what days I want to fly and what day I want my interview, blah 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 blah. That was the 22nd. On the 29th, I received an email back from them. They said, "Thank you for selecting your preferred date for the interview. Unfortunately, the date you selected, there's no available seats, so we found you a new date, and that new date was October 9th." So I selected October 8th. They selected for me October 9th. So I was like, "All right, cool, whatever. That ain't no problem." I wrote back to them. I confirmed. I sent them a confirmation email. October 9th for me works. On October 1st, I received an email from them with my flight confirmation. It was um, a confirmed flight from JFK to Dallas and on the 8th because I decided to fly in the day before, and then a confirmed flight on the 9th from Dallas back to JFK. And so on the 6th of October, they sent me a reminder. Hey, just to let your face to face interview is scheduled, blah, 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 blah. So January 29th to October 1st is the timeline in application to, well, October 8th, because October 8th is when or October 9th, rather. October 9th is when I had the interview. So January 29th to October 9th, application to in person interview. That's American Airlines. Now there's an overlapping timeline, right? Because like I said to you guys, I was unemployed for majority of this year. So I didn't want to put all my eggs in this one basket because look at how long they're taking to reply and respond to me and get back to me and confirm things and all that stuff. I'm like, I can't work, I can't live off that. That's very uncertain, and I can't live off uncertainty. Me by myself. I mean, no, I don't have any kids, but I live by myself. I pay for everything by myself. I pay all my own bills. I do everything for me by me alone. So no, I can't live off of uncertainty. So my friend, he um he was working at a bowling alley and he sent me the application, like the link to apply because he knew I was unemployed and I was looking for a job. Again, well, I didn't tell you guys this, but nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody that I was applying. I didn't tell anybody that I got the interview. I didn't tell anybody that, about that I was waiting. I didn't tell anybody about anything until later on, like closer to the date where they told me like, oh, well, let's get you back in. It's the wait is over. Let's get you in to fast track you, blah blah blah. That's when I started telling people like, hey, so and it was like people close to me. Hey, so I'm in the process of becoming a flight attendant. Like, and I don't know. I don't know if I should have still kept it all to myself until it was all said and done. It really doesn't matter. I see all open doors and shut doors as blessings from above, so it really, really doesn't matter. Anyway, on the 30th of August, he sent me the link and he was like, yo, apply, da 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 da, we hiring, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you think back to the American Airlines timeline, on the 29th of August is when I received the follow up from them saying that the wait is over. Click this link to reapply if you're still interested. So I'm like, oh shoot, well they getting back to me. I don't need to apply to this bowling alley right now. Like I'm just gonna leave that there. I didn't completely never mind it. I didn't completely cross it out or cross it off. It just was like put on the back burner. So I was like, all right, cool. So that was the 30th. He sent me the link. I didn't apply until September 20th because I'm like, I just in case this airline thing, flight attendant thing don't work out, I still need to have something else to fall back on because I refuse to come back from Texas unemployed. So I received a follow-up email from that company on the 23rd of September. In this follow-up email was an invitation for their hiring event on the 26th of September. So I sent them confirmation that I'll be able to join the hiring event. I got to the hiring event on the 26th. That same day, they sent me a tentative job offer. Later that evening, my manager sent me a tentative job offer, and I accepted. 3 days later, on the 29th of September, my background check was completed. My official job offer was accepted, and they offered me a start date at October 8th. This is where things start to overlap. October 8th was the tentative start date. But I told them, I was like, I didn't tell them that I had another job lined up or anything like that. I was just like, I can't start the 8th and I can't start the 9th. But I can start on the 10th if you guys will have me. So they were like, yeah, that's cool. You can start on the 10th. That's no problem. So I went to interview on the 8th. No, I flew into Dallas on the 8th. I interviewed on the 9th and flew back on the 9th, and I started my new job on the 10th. That's how the overlapping timeline completes. So let me tell you about the experience of the interview, like actually being there, what we did, different tasks, etc., etc., etc. Okay, boom. So I got there late. Like I told you guys earlier in the video, I got there late. I can do another video about like my 24 to 36 hours in Dallas because that was hell in itself, just trying to get to my interview. A 25-minute ride ended up a 45, 55-minute ride, and I almost did not make the interview at all. So it all would have been for no reason. A different story for a different day. Um, so I got there. I tried to get there like 45 minutes before my actual interview date, interview time. Didn't happen. The check-in like process was going to end at 8:45. I got there at 8:38. I'm getting mad all over again thinking about it. Like, anyway. Got there. I got my name badge, I got my visitor's badge, and then I went into another room where they needed my passport. Now, this is again where I thought it was going to be all over. I get there, it's a room full of ladies, and I hand them my passport. They're checking me into, the system to show like, oh, she arrived, she's here, blah, blah, blah. I said to them because I didn't want them to see and be like, oh, March 31st, you gotta leave. So I said to them first, I was like, hey, so my passport XYZ, is that gonna be an issue? They started discussing stuff amongst each other in like, I don't know, like little low voices and whispers and shit like that. And I was just like, from then I knew that it was gonna be like kind of a weird vibe to the interview. And then they were like, no, it shouldn't be an issue. I think you're part of the something cohort or you reached the something cutoff. I don't know. Something made me able to make it work with my passport. So I was like, beautiful. Passport's not an issue. We should have no issues for the day. Okay. We get there. I get there. They told us that um we needed to bring all of our belongings that we brought with us to fly back home if we flew in. Anything that you flew in with, bring to the interview with you because right after the interview you flying back home. So I had my suitcase. I just had my little suitcase. I didn't have too many bags. It was a suitcase and like a personal purse or whatever. I had my suitcase, had my bag. I put it off to the side with everybody else's bags because everybody's suitcase was off to the side behind like a velvet rope. They made us turn our phones off and put them away. They were like either silence it or turn it off and put it away. I had my Apple Watch on, I believe. I might have taken my Apple Watch off too because I didn't want to be distracted. Like, you know, even if it's a message that comes through or it looks like I'm checking the time because I'm bored, I just didn't want to have any distractions. So I took the wristwatch off. I put my phone away and I had no electronics on me. I was fully immersed in the interview. So I got there. There were two groups of people. It was about 25 to 35 people in each group. It was my group, the Dallas group, and then there was another group, the Sydney group. Sydney what? I don't know. I just know it was the Dallas group and the Sydney group. I was in the Dallas group. That's where my attention was. Both of the groups are in the room. All of the people that were running and like heading the interview process, they all came up to the front one by one, introduced themselves, introduced like what they do for the company, how long they've been working for the company, and that was pretty much it. Then they did like a welcome presentation for everybody, like an overhead presentation where they were like, "Welcome to American Airlines." They started talking about the history of American Airlines. Fun fact: American Airlines was the first airline to start like a members club, like a Skyview club kind of thing. They were the first airline to introduce a members only kind of thing. So I found that really cool. And then I think they just celebrated their like 100-year anniversary. So it was like that kind of a stuff. And there was some people on the presentation saying, "Oh, this is my name. This is what I do. I've been here for this long. I really enjoy it. My favorite part about my job, blah, 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 blah." Stuff to get you amped and excited. Oh my God, I'm going to love working here. Like that kind of a presentation. So I was like, all right. Cool, 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 cool. Mind you, before all of this, like interview process, all of that, I was watching YouTube videos just to get like the best tips and, to be successful for a virtual group interview and then the best tips and to be successful for a in-person interview. So what they said, a lot of the people, the most common denominator in all of the videos that I watched for research purposes was like always smile. Always be smiling. So I had this motherfucker plastered on my face the entire interview, okay? I'm like, yeah, if they don't see anything, they're gonna see these pearly whites, all 32. That's what you're gonna see. So they were also like, oh, you want to, if you can, address people by their name and build rapport and be social and talk to people in your group and talk to other people that's not interviewing you and blah, 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 blah. Like, I was like, damn, they want me to be all over the place and stretch myself thin, but I'm gonna do it because I can. So after the presentation for the entire group, they kind of gave a breakdown of how the day would go. They explained because it was a 3 to 5 hour interview process, so they explained what it would entail. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna have a bathroom and a water break, and then we're gonna do this, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, sounds good to me. So after they told us how the day was gonna go, they separated the groups, the Sydney group and the Dallas group. They took the Sydney group out to go do one thing or one set of things, and then they kept my group in the room. When they kept my group in the room, they started with another presentation. Now, this presentation was a little bit different. This presentation was about all the different places where there are American Airline bases to work out of. This was about all the different I guess like requirements and things to requirements and expectations basically to expect within the first 2 years of being a flight attendant because in the first 2 years you're on call. When you're on call, that means that they can call you any day, anytime, and you must be able to report to work. They were also setting expectations of training. It was 6 weeks of unpaid training. The only thing that they paid for was lodging while I'm out there in Texas doing the training, and any meals that I eat, they would be paying for. That means that if I had a job, I would have to A, leave my job. B, if I didn't have a job, I would have to find some way to make income because I have an apartment that I had to pay for. C, if I was looking for another job or if I was in the process, like I was doing with Lucky Strike, if I was in the process of, being with another job, then I kind of have to drop everything that I did with that job or, stop where I am in that process and give all of my undivided attention to American Airlines for training. I'm like, that's cool. Like it's training, whatever. But then also I have an apartment that I have to pay for. I was unemployed up until this point. So where am I getting the money to pay for my apartment while I'm away in Texas for 6 weeks, to pay for my lights while I'm away for 6 weeks in Texas, to pay for, all the different things that I had to be responsible for 6 weeks. And you're only paying for my lodging and my meal? I mean, that's more than I can, ask for, but also still like that's kind of crazy. So they explained that, and then also they explained like the base assignment and base relocation. So I currently live in Jersey, right? Had they not put me at Newark Airport, or had they not put me at JFK Airport, and they put me at any of the other cities around the world, I would have had to relocate, because when you're on call, you must be within 2 hours of your base. Because if you're on call, I can't be getting a call today to come into work for 6 p.m. and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have to be at work for 6 p.m. in Boston, and I live in Jersey. Like, you know? So that's why they wanted people to be, or, within 2 hours of their base. Relocation, they don't pay for. So not only would I have to have had a job up until then and have money saved for the 6 weeks of training, have money saved to pay for my rent, have money saved to pay for any other bills, I would have had to have money saved to relocate myself in case they wanted to put me somewhere that's not New Jersey or New York. So I'm saying to myself, like, I'm not prepared for any of this. I don't have anything in my savings account. I don't even have a job right now. I would have had to have all that in the bank already at this point, because for me to start training in February, from October to February, that's not a lot of time to find a job, start making money, save. Because again, at that point, up until that point, I didn't have a job. So that's what they were explaining in the presentation. And it was like I just kept thinking to myself, like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not prepared for this, mentally prepared, physically prepared. I don't have any financial preparedness. Like, I'm not in any position to be vacating my apartment for 6 weeks, or vacating where I am for 6 weeks at any measure. So these were all the thoughts that I was having while I'm sitting there listening to this presentation. And I'm, again, second, third guessing, fourth guessing, like, is this where I want to be? Is this where I need to be? Is, like, God, you opened this door for me? And I Okay, okay, okay. So after the presentation, they gave a little quiz. A quiz, bitch, a pop quiz. A quiz? What if I wasn't paying attention to this presentation and you gave me a quiz? So I gave like a little 3 question quiz and a mini writing prompt at the end, based on the presentation that we saw and the information that they presented. It was like, oh, which of these states does American Airlines not have a base in? What year did, whatever, whatever. It was like a yes or no question, true or false, those kinds of things, plus the little writing prompt. I was like, all right, I guess y'all testing to see, like, basic attention skills. Cool. No problem. No problem. I was paying attention. So after the test was over, they gave us, that's when we started our first, like, task. So as a group, they had cards numbered 1 through 5, and they went and gave everybody a card in the room 1 through 5. So all the groups of one, groups of two, groups of three, groups of four, and groups of five, they were all a group. And after receiving your card and going over it briefly, they told us that all the groups of one, or everybody that's in a group, will go up to the front. You will present your scenario. You will discuss your scenario within your group, because you're not sitting next to all your fives or all your fours. Like, I was sitting next to one, a two, a three, a four. Like, it was like that. So it was like, you get to discuss, when you get to the front of the room, you get to discuss for 60 seconds with your group what your scenario is. You guys will have to, again, within that 60 seconds, place yourself in order of most, like, which scenario needed the most attention paid to it versus which scenario needed the least attention paid to it, on a safety scale, as a flight attendant. So it was like everybody had to read. You had to go around and look at, okay, you could be there. Okay, you could be there, and I'm gonna be here. And da, da, da. So after we put ourselves in order, we had to before we presented, our group presented, we each had to individually say our name, say what number, because I think I was number 31, so I don't even know what the numbers were, to be honest. Also, say your name, say what your number is, and then present your scenario and what you would do in your scenario if you were a flight attendant on that flight. I was like, okay, I can do that. So I did that, and everybody had to do that in the group, and that was your group's deliverance of your scenarios, everybody's scenario. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now, mind you, while everybody's up there talking, like the people that are, like I said, from I got there, everybody is just like watching very meticulously and like making notes and writing things down. This is like, okay. So while we up there talking, that's what they doing. They like, okay, so say your name, say your number, explain your scenario, and why you put yourself or what you would do in that situation. So I was like, okay. I get up there. I'm like, my name is Jada. I'm number 31, and my scenario is blah 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 blah. And if I was a flight attendant on this flight, I would do X Y Z. And they're like watching me read it, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. Like this is so weird. So after everybody did their scenario part, we went to the water and bathroom break because that took about an hour, maybe an hour and a half for us to complete. Um, so we went to use the bathroom, do a water break, and it was more like chit chatting amongst each other. Oh, where you from? Where you flew in from? What you do for work? Were you a flight attendant before this? And also, there were other flight attendants in the room with me interviewing. So there was some competition in the room. Again, I didn't know what to expect. They, I'm sure, knew what to expect. They knew what these people were looking for. They are flight attendants, so they know how it goes through and through, in and out, just a different airline. So I was talking to people, getting to know some people, asking some people some questions. I met this one girl. She was asking me about all the different places that I traveled, and I started naming them off. And she was like, "Oh, you travel a lot." I was like, yeah, it's kind of why I want to be a flight attendant. Like, I do this. I am a traveler. Like, this is right. This is my alley, not up my alley. This is my alley. You know what I mean? After we get the doing all the water breaks and the bathroom breaks, they told us to order ourselves in numerical order from least to greatest, and line up along the wall, and then we all walked towards our next set of tasks that we had to do for the interview. I'm like, all right, cool. So we get to the next area, and the lady who is with us outside, she explains to us what we will be doing in this room. So in this room, the tasks were as follows. You're going to read a prompt. They're going to hand you a card. You're going to pick up the card. You're going to read the prompt, put the card back down. You'll step over to this area and you'll wait for the next person that's in that room to call you for the next task or set of tasks to do. And then you do those tasks and then you're done. So, walked into the room. I read the prompt. I stumbled a little bit, or like I tripped up on my words a little bit because I don't know. Like, it was just, I don't know why I tripped up, honestly. I can read. I could read. I can read. I don't know, maybe I was nervous. I was just like, so they just want me to read this and then what? Like maybe I was just thinking a little bit too ahead of myself. So I think that's why I stumbled and tripped up. But I read the scenario. Then, he did his little note taking, He was like, okay, so you're going to stand right here. And then, I don't know her name, Sally is going to call you. And when she calls you, you're going to step up and you're going to do what she says. I was like, all right, cool. So read the prompt, stepped over, waited for Sally to call me. Sally calls me over. She's like, okay, you're going to step up here. You're going to push the beverage cart and you're going to pull the beverage cart right back down the aisle. They had like a simulation kind of. It was like a mini airplane aisle. So it was the seats, the aisle, the seats. They had overhead bins on either side, and then they had like a seat belt, like the the flight attendant's seat where they buckle themselves in. They pull their seat down and they sit or whatever. So she was like, you're going to pull the beverage cart and push the beverage cart down the aisle. Then you're going to lift the latch up here. I guess they just wanted to like height if they wanted to see if I could reach it. You're going to lift this latch and then you're going to have a seat here and buckle yourself in the seatbelt. Mind you, like I said, the lady that was outside with us, she had already explained to us everything and how to do it. She was like, the seatbelt is 3. You're going to do this, and then you'll do this with the seatbelt, and then you're just going to lift the latch, and then you're just going to pull the beverage cart, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, oh, easy, simple, nice and easy and simple. So I got in the room. I did what I had to do, came out of the room. Everybody had to go in one by one. So once you finish, you come out of the room, you line back up, and we wait. So we had to wait for everybody to complete their portion. Once everybody was complete, they rounded us back up to go back over to the water and bathroom station. If anybody had to or wanted to get some water, had to use the bathroom again before we go back into the room. We do that. Whoever needed to do that got their water, used the bathroom. We went back into the room. Now, at this point, when we get back into the room, it's starting a wrap up. So they're like, oh, I think they delivered like one final presentation, or he started speaking about, oh, among thousands of applicants, you guys made it. And again, there was like 25 to 35 people per group. So there were less than 100 people in the room among thousands of applicants. So I was like, hey, I'm kind of proud of that. I'm, listening, actively listening. I don't know if it was a facade, if I was pretending, if I was really in the moment listening to what they had to say. And I'm just like, I think we should give ourselves a round of applause. He was like, I was just gonna say that. What's your name? Jada? I was like, yes. He was like, yes, you guys should all give yourselves a round of applause. So we all start clapping for ourselves. Then he started doing like some more like wrapping up, talking, and then he was like, okay, so now we're going to start calling names. As we call your name, you're gonna grab your belongings and you'll meet us outside the room along the wall. They were like, we're going to call you guys in groups because we don't want to crowd the elevator banks, being that there's only 2 elevators for the whole building to share. And it was like lunchtime, I guess, at that point. So I was like, okay. I didn't think anything of it at the moment. I'm like, okay, cool. So they called a group, they called another group. I'm still talking to like my peoples, whatever that was in my group that I was chit chatting with and building rapport with while we were doing our activities. Then they called the third group, I think is when I heard my name get called. I was like, okay, well, I addressed the entire room. I was like, best of luck to everybody. I hope everybody, gets the job and, just best of luck. And I was like, I will be back here. I'm walking out of the room and I'm like, I will be back here. I will be back here. And I lined up against the wall along with the other ladies that they called from my group. And then a couple gentlemen that they had called from my group too. And we line up against the wall. We have our belongings. We standing there. They had our names, like our name badges in a badge holder, but they wanted the badge holders back. So he started collecting all the badge holders from everybody. And then one girl was like, can I actually get my name badge from in there? He was like, yeah, anybody else want their name badge? So I was like, I'll take it for memorabilia. Even though I'll be back, I'll still take it. So I take my name badge. Everybody take their name badge. They put us in the elevator. They bring us upstairs. We get to the front desk, like the check where we checked in initially when we came in, the exit doors, the entrance exit, and she stops us. So standing there. So we're standing there, okay? And she starts saying, oh, we really appreciate all of you guys for taking some time out to apply to American Airlines. And, you know, there were thousands and thousands of applicants. And we really, really, it was a really great group, but we really were just looking for really specific things. And I'm not saying what she was saying verbatim, but this is kind of along the lines of what she was saying. Basically, reading off the thank you for expressing your interest email out loud to us verbatim. I was like, oh, we didn't get the job. I said, oh, we didn't make the cut. That's crazy. I thought I would have been way sadder, but then I took a moment and I looked over to my right, and there was a young lady who was bawling tears. Okay, she was like, I was like, oh damn, that hit hard for her. Like that hit really, really, really hard. And I started rubbing her back, and I was like, girl, it's okay. Like I was like, I don't know if you believe in God. That was the first thing that came to my mouth. I was like, I don't know if you believe in God, but it's just not our time right now. It's just not our time. At this time, like during this interview process, the government was still shut down. There were planes catching fire, flying in and out, planes going missing. Like, and I mean, that happens regularly, but also that happening with a government shutdown and air traffic controllers not working, and um TSA hours and hours line out the door for TSA. People are being at work and not getting paid to work. People are not getting paid to work, so they're not showing up to work. I'm like, this is not a time to be dealing with airplanes. It's just not. Like that's just kind of how I what I chalked it up to. It's not a time to be dealing with no planes, being in the air, away from solid ground, right? Like I don't have time for that. So after they told us like, oh, we appreciate you guys, we appreciate your time, they rejected the entire group at once. They also didn't tell anybody why. They were like, if you want more information, you can go on something something dot AA and you'll be able to see more information. Fuck that. Y'all didn't want me here. That's fine. I don't need to be here. And the shuttle was waiting for us outside to take us back to the airport. And I got on the shuttle. We all got on the shuttle, and everybody was complaining. Everybody was tight. Everybody was like, "Yo, like, why didn't they tell us? Like, we wonder what happened." Um, some girls was like, "Well, listen, it was a lot of great people in the room. Like they said, it was a group of great people." And sometimes at that point you got to look for little nitpicky stuff, and it probably boiled down to little nitpicky stuff that they had to make a decision, and they decided not to go with us. And I said to the group, I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm starting my job tomorrow. Like literally, I have my job lined up for me already. I start my job tomorrow, so it's no problem for me. So got on the shuttle, got to the airport, and I got to the airport early, like maybe 2 or 3 hours earlier than my flight. TSA was pretty long, actually. TSA was about 35 to 45 minute wait. Um, But again, I was there like 3 hours earlier than my flight. So once I got through TSA, no, I went and I changed my clothes first. I went to the bathroom, I changed, went through TSA, got through TSA, and went to a restaurant and got myself a big ass margarita, like a jumbo margarita. Because I'm just like, all of this for what? All of this for what? All this for what? And y'all can even tell us like individually as individuals, or let the group go and email everybody, communicate with everybody separately, and let us know like, hey, we didn't go forward. Thank you for expressing your interest, but we went with other candidates because XYZ. Or if you want to know more information, click the link below to find out why you weren't chosen as a candidate, or stuff like that. That's what I thought. I didn't think that they was going to reject everybody in person right before the flight home. That's crazy. That's crazy. But anyway, that was my experience interviewing with American Airlines, applying, interviewing, as I said before, from January all the way up until October for nothing. So I don't know if that's a standard. I don't know if it's like a you apply and you have to wait busy season. It could have been when I applied, it could just have been like their communication as well, because every time I did something, it took a month and change to get to the next step. So it's like, I don't know what all this is for. I don't know if it's always going to be a busy season that, kind of stops you from moving forward as quickly as you should be. I don't know if that's a standard. I don't know if it typically takes 10 months to hear back from them to, know whether or not you're going to be flying, or whether or not you're going to start, traveling, or whether or not you're going to be going to training and all that. That's why I didn't prepare. I didn't prepare because I'm like, why would I? Well, first of all, I couldn't because I was unemployed. But second of all, I'm like, why would I put in all this work, put in all of this, all of these different, like, all this different legwork to put in for a job, and I may not even get it because I'm barely hearing back from them as it stands already? Like, I don't know. It was weird. It could be the airline, it could be the time that I applied, it could be a combination of a bunch of different things. I just know that it wasn't meant for me to be flying with American Airlines at that time. And so I'm not a flight attendant right now. I am an event host at a bowling alley, and I'm a professional yapper. These are the two things that allow me the freedoms that I want in life. And I will have the luxury of traveling and being paid to travel. Like I said, this podcast is going to take me there. So we'll see. We'll see when I'm flying first class to go speak to a room of young black entrepreneurs. And yeah, I see it. I see it. I visualize it. I see it. It's already my life. So yeah, yeah, that's my experience. Like I said, it could just be American Airlines. It could be all airlines. It could be the time that I decided to apply. Um, I don't know. But what I would say is don't let my experience discourage you from going for it if that's something that you want in life. Like if you want to be a flight attendant, if you want to work for American Airlines, go for it. Like Delta is hiring right now, actually, for flight attendants. So if you want to be a flight attendant, you want to work for Delta, or you don't know what airline you want to work for, start with Delta and just don't expect a yes on the first try. Like, don't expect a yes on the first try. If you do get a yes, or what, either which way it goes, just be grateful for the opportunity regardless. I, like I said, I prayed for this. This is something that was on my prayer list to be a flight attendant, to get paid to travel, not exactly to be a flight attendant, which is so funny because it's not verbatim be a flight attendant. It's get paid to travel. So I don't know what opportunity is going to take me there. God works in mysterious ways like that. So don't let this discourage you. Don't let any no's discourage you. You know, you have to hear a million no's before you can hear a yes. And all it takes is one yes, right? So take out all of what I'm saying with a grain of salt, maybe 2 grains of salt. Take it with a grain of salt and, move forward like that. If this is something that you want to do, go for it. Don't quit. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody's thoughts or opinions discourage you from, going full forth and really attacking the opportunity because it's a great opportunity. Like it's I guess it depends on what airline again, but like it's an amazing opportunity to get paid to travel, have layover flights in different countries. Like you just every day is different. You never know what the day is gonna bring. You never know who you're gonna run into on these flights. Like, I mean, I run into celebrities at my job quite often, which I wasn't expecting. But I thought that on a flight, you would run into celebrities a little bit more, or like, people. Anyway, regardless of what, like, just don't let it discourage you. If this is something that you want to do, do it. Okay, do it. Do your research. Do your research. Do your research. Prepare, find people who are flight attendants and, get some ideas from them, talk to them, kind of get some expectations or, what should you expect? What should you do for the best outcome? And just don't stop. Keep believing in yourself, keep believing in your process, and keep having faith in God that if this is a door that God is going to open for you, if this is a door that God has already ordained and opened up for you, that you're just going to walk through with no problem. I don't think that God opened that door fully for me yet. And I think that that's why I was not able to take full advantage of the opportunity. And I'm not mad at that. Like I said, I knew that it wasn't meant for me when I wasn't mad at the fact that I didn't get it. Because I thought I was going to be pissed. I thought I was going to be pissed. I thought I was going to be homegirl next to me crying boohoo tears like, oh my God, they don't want me. I really thought that that's what the outcome was going to be. But I was just like, oh, okay. We'll try again next time. I ain't got it. I don't know. Like it is what it is. It's outside of you know, my reach, outside of my grasp. I can't do anything about it. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Um, this story time was supposed to be delivered last month, but everybody wanted to hear about me getting arrested and my car getting towed instead. Y'all nosy. Y'all nosy. But it's okay because y'all are gonna watch Anyway, yeah. So if you have made it this far, I appreciate you as always. I thank you. I thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And to all my folks that are just not quite there, enjoy the ride, my love, because we'll get there soon. Cheers.